Hi everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we will look through all the updates on Quant on a high level since about July 2021, so about a year ago. We'll be looking at all of them on a high level and then summarizing our findings. And the whole point of this video is to see whether these updates or anything in the market has changed our initial investment thesis for investing in Quant, either positively or negatively. But before we jump in, I gotta bring home the bacon and I gotta ask you all to subscribe. I can see that about 86.4% of you are still unsubscribed to my channel, but still watching my content. You know what? If you click that button there, I really think it's gonna go down to 86%. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you like what I do. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the video. Standard disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. This is not financial advice, and please do your own research and consult a professional before looking to make any investment. So we understand the fundamentals of Quant. We have our initial investment thesis. This project has a lot of potential and, we're talking about something that could be the TCP/IP of the Internet of Value here. But as investors, understanding fundamental value is half the battle. We need to continuously upgrade our own knowledge and education, and then continuously check that our investment thesis is playing out in the market as we expected. So it's been almost a year since I released the deep dive video. Where we left off was the Spunta DLT being rolled out by SIA. So if you haven't watched the initial video, basically SIA is, I guess you could call it the SWIFT of Europe. And they were involved with a project with a couple Italian banks. And what they were trying to do was to solve interbank reconciliation using the Spunta DLT. You know that Quant has been a partner with SIA for quite some time before this announcement. So basically, the project was a success after Quant got involved. So we're saying that, it's likely that Quant was involved, and we're saying that it was a success because of Quant. And then shortly after this announcement, SIA, they have recently merged with a number of other huge payment service providers in Europe. So I'm not going to go into each one of these, but what this means is that this merger is pretty much the entirety of Europe's payment systems, and Quant is partnered with this SIA company or with this merger. So going through SIA's media announcements, there hasn't really been any updates. I think this is something I will need to take a deeper look at. As we know, a lot of things are under NDA. This might be content for another video. We also know that SIA was selected to build the ESMIG, the Single Market Infrastructure Gateway. You can think of ESMIG as being the back-end infrastructure for all the payments in Europe. So, if Quant is being used as a technology provider for this project, then, it's a massive deal. Another massive project that Quant is involved in on the other side of the planet is LACCHAIN. Gilbert has publicly said they're working on LACCHAIN on the Latin American dollar. I think this is probably where the success of Quant will be determined. So the outcome of LACCHAIN, the success of LACCHAIN will ultimately determine the success of Quant itself. I will go into this deeper later in the video. But, LACCHAIN, from what I can see, is that it's just progressing as planned. New nodes are being added. I'm not sure how frequent it is, but it seems there's more nodes this year than last year. So that's good to see. And there's new projects, new use cases. So it seems to be going as planned. And then the other massive large-scale projects Quant is involved in is ODAP. Now with ODAP, a lot of people think this is kind of the holy grail. It's working with MIT, Intel, US government. But, you know, I think a lot of it is still in, I guess, sort of in theory or a concept stage. And there's not really any announcements on this. So I can't really, you know, there's not really much to go on here. But I think, you know, this brings us back to LACCHAIN, because I think a lot of what is going on in LACCHAIN will be looked at by these other institutions, these other countries. So which is why I say LACCHAIN is probably the most, it's where you want to be looking at as a quant investor. Another project is Digital Pound Foundation. This is something that recently started up. Sounds great, you know. I don't believe this is an official thing by the British government. It's just something where, you know, a bunch of these corporate blockchain founders came together. They say, hey, I think it's time to talk about digital pound. I think it's a smart move because, you know, CBDCs, you know, fiat, like, you know, government issued stuff. There's a lot of rules and regulations behind it, right? So I think, you know, starting the conversation now is a smart move because it's likely going to take a long time to get a digital pound in. Not because of the technology, but because of all the rules and regulations. And, you know, there's a couple other projects as well. Project JURA, Project Helvetia. These were CBDC pilots. You know, these are both massive, I guess, pilot study CBDCs just to explore, you know, what are the advantages, disadvantages, what are the pitfalls, what are the potential problems with CBDCs. So, you know, I think without a doubt, you know, Quant is 100% going for CBDCs and banks as their clients, right? You know, we can see this with interbank reconciliation with the Spunta DLT. We can see this with interoperability with multiple DLTs and LACCHAIN. We can see even the Latin American dollar in LACCHAIN. You know, there's various CBDC projects, digital pound, ODAP. You know, putting this all together, it's clear that Quant is going after banking clients and CBDCs. Plus, I will just go quickly into the team updates here. So there's a new team member on board. There's multiple new team members on board. But specifically Andrew Carrier. He's the new marketing director who has had, you know, over 20 years experience working in banking. He's worked within Swift, within Deutsche Bank, and then as well as the new board member, Neil Smith. He used to be vice chairman of Comcast. You know, from my experience, you know, startups don't just hire these high-level guys for no reason. You know, they're hiring these guys because the demand and magnitude of the work necessary requires these two guys to be at the top and direct everything, right? So, you know, what it comes down to is that, you know, something that Gilbert has said repeatedly in his interviews, which I think what Quant is building up to, right? Which is that the internet was never built to transfer value. It's just information at the moment. You know, one example I can give you is how a debit card works, right? You know, it kind of, you know, what Gilbert says is tunnels of cybersecurity. So, you know, for example, you know, you let's say you want to buy, I don't know, a surfboard on the website. You go to the website, you see there's a SSL certificate. You know, it's the website owner has to be sure it's PCI compliant. Then when you're putting your details in, you know, you put in the CVV, you know, which ensures that, you know, the person who is buying actually has the card and they actually physically have the card. And then there's, you know, this whole address verification thing, which checks if you put in the right details, does it match what is on the card's database? And then there's a 3D secure thing, which sends you a message to say, put in this PIN. If you get that right, then maybe there's an OTP, a one-time password, which they send you to your phone, which could be some 4-digit number. So, you know, so this is how value is transferred at the moment. It's all this sort of, it's kind of like an armored car. Right, your payment is in the car and it's like armored and it's moving with all these different protections in place. And the hackers are the robbers shooting at the armored car, trying to get rid of the glass, the bulletproof glass, trying to get rid of the tires. So that's how you can think of payment systems today. So, the internet is not inherently secure to send value. It's only, we can only deal with information at the moment. And, this is the vision of Gilbert, basically. He saw that, the internet of value will be built within various different networks, and there needed to be something that connected all these networks together, these networks of value. This is very much how the internet evolved, right? The internet started out in various networks of information, like we looked at in my previous videos. So, it's just evolving in the same way the internet did. And what Quant is doing is just catching up this whole process to be what it should be, right? Value should be sent as easy as information today, right? Okay, so that's the vision of Gilbert. But, on the way to his vision, there needs to be a couple of things that needs to happen along the way. So we know that Quant Network is essentially, it's a three-sided network of end users, dApp developers, and gateway operators. So, in a network like this, there's three different types of users. And basically, for the network to start, and for the network effects to start, it needs to be bootstrapped in some sort of way. So that it needs to have, a little bit of users, a little bit of developers, a little bit of gateway operators, and then it can start growing, You know what I mean? For example, let's say you just have end users, but no dApp developers or gateway operators. How's the network effect gonna start? Or, look at it the other way. If there's loads of dApp developers, but no users, no gateway operators, why, if there's loads of dApps, but no users, no gateway operators, the network's not really going to survive that long. So what I'm saying is for Quant to reach that ultimate vision, it needs to first get a little bit of each of these three types of users. So this comes back to what I was saying before, which is that the ultimate success of Quant will largely be determined on the outcome of LACCHAIN. So as quant investors, LACCHAIN is something you want to be looking at. You want to be seeing, how are the projects successing? Is the regulations changing in Latin America? How is the consumers reacting to the dApps? Is it actually useful? Are the farmers using it? Think about it. Basically LACCHAIN is basically one massive case study for America, right? If LACCHAIN succeeds, other more developed regions are going to look at that and they're going to say, okay, this is actually really successful. It's improved the GDP of the entire region. All the bank's infrastructure is great. The efficiency is there. The farmers are doing much better. They're getting their money immediately. They can react to changes in some other country within the region much more, they're much more adaptable to changes. Everyone's kind of working together. So, if LACCHAIN succeeds, it's going to be the ultimate case study for Quant. Okay, so I think LACCHAIN, any updates you're looking for Quant, just look at LACCHAIN. And then alongside this, there's also regulations, right? There's this whole debate about CBDCs at the moment. Should CBDCs be a private stablecoin regulated by the government, or should central banks create their own CBDCs? Should they, how does it work within their own environment? How does it, let's say you have a US dollar CBDC, how does it work in the UK, for example? How does it interoperate, not on a technological level, but also, on a jurisdictional level, with all the laws, what does it mean to have a CBDC in your wallet? I've been recently studying up on this, and, this is quite interesting, actually. There's this whole, it's kind of legacy regulations around what is money and what is legal tender in a country. And there's a difference between money in the bank, a difference between money in the central bank. There's a difference between money that shows up on your, let's say, Monzo account. That's a different type of money. So there's all these different rules around it. So, regulations is another thing. CBDC regulations is another thing that you should be keeping very close track of. So this I think this is going to be another video. I think I will take a deeper look at CBDCs. I think there was something pretty interesting. They were saying that, retail CBDCs can only be accepted as legal tender if it can be done offline. So in most countries, I didn't know this, but in most countries, banknotes and coins are legal tender only. What shows up on your bank account, that's not legal tender. That's a representation of value, which you can claim at the bank for real, actual banknotes and coins, which I know it sounds weird, but I just recently found this out. So this will be another video, and I'm saying CBDC regulations needs to be watched carefully if you're a quant investor. Okay, the next thing we'll go through is a bit on the team. In my initial deep dive video, I mentioned that the size of the quant team was kind of a shortfall because the team was pretty small for the size, the scale of the project they're doing. But looking at the team now, the team has grown quite significantly. I think they've more than doubled the team size. So, I think this is great. If the team is growing, it shows that money is being made, which means people find the product useful. So that's really good to see. And by the way, if you guys hear weird sounds in the background, again, I apologize. I don't work from a studio. I'm working out of this room here, home in my flat. So yeah, I apologize. Anyway, so moving on, let's go to the technology updates. Now, when looking at technology, I am basically looking for things that they should be doing. So when I see new updates like this thing has been added, this new feature is out, this thing is added, to me, this doesn't really change my investment thesis. My investment thesis took into account that they would be building and releasing features accordingly to their roadmap. So all these new features, these new technologies, they don't, it's great that it shows that they're on track, but it doesn't really change the fundamental value of quant. It just means they're doing what they should be doing. So now going through the technology, it looks like they've been super busy. They've got a ton of updates since I last looked at it. This is what they should be doing. So it looks good. Everything's on track. A number of key things that they've added is Polygon support, Polkadot support, XDC support. So this, this adds to their network of supported networks, which joins Ethereum, Bitcoin, and XRP, I think. And then I think they're making it easier for developers to get started, which is always super good to see. Developers are the ones that are going to be building on the network. So it looks like they've made it easier to create smart contracts. So apparently on the UI now, you don't actually have to code anything. You can simply, it's kind of like a no-code solution to create smart contracts. And then they've got this Quant developer program. It looks like they're doing programs with universities, kind of starting at the grassroots, starting at the bottom, getting people interested in Quant. This is great to see. They've also released bridges that work with stablecoins, NFTs, and DeFi ecosystems with blockchain payments. So it seems like this is clearing and settlement between different digital assets types and stablecoins. So this is great. I expect them to do these sort of releases. This goes along with the whole interoperability use case, multi-DLT DeFi payments, combining different products, collateralizing different NFTs with various options of whatever stable coins you wish to use. This kind of plays into the whole, it looks like they're building these products to help their traditional banking clients really take advantage of the crypto boom, which may be coming in the next couple of years. So it looks like these features are really, this is kind of the back ends of what the banks, the traditional banks, the HSBCs, the Lloyds, whatever those guys will be using. So yeah, it looks good. And also they released the Overledger network. This is fantastic. This is what they should be doing. I don't get excited by seeing this happen. This is what they should be doing. One thing I wanted to find out was how decentralized their gateway network is. So I actually tried to log in and become a member. I tried to actually pay for an annual Overledger fee. I couldn't do this. I'm not sure why. So this will be another video. I think this is really important to look at the decentralization of the network. So this is something also as a quant investor you need to be keeping track of. Obviously, the more decentralized it is, the better, the cheaper the fees will be, the more, the more routes each user can take to make payments. So yeah, it's really important. And then the last thing I looked at in this update was the tokenomics. So there's no real change to the previous tokenomics. Everything is kind of the same. One interesting thing was this release of these QRC20 tokens, and I don't think I took this into account into my original thesis. This is something new, but basically what QRC20 is it's a blockchain agnostic token on the Quant Network, and it works across multiple DLT and non-DLT systems on the network. So for example, initially we thought they would be using ERC20 tokens, and then, connecting ERC20 tokens to, let's say, XRP tokens through nodes, through different connectors. So, in that exchange, there's the ERC20 tokens, there's the XRP tokens. So there's two different tokens involved. But it looks like with this QRC20 token, this will be the token that sits on top of all the various nodes, connectors, networks, and it's just a single token that the developer can interact with. And let's say they put through some smart contract or some transaction, they only have to deal with the QRC20 token, because the way it is built means that the whole sort of building smart contracts for Ethereum, building smart contracts for XRP, all that is abstracted into a single token. So everything is into one token. So it's just making it a lot easier. And to use these QRC20 tokens, it's powered by Quant as fuel. So actually this is quite interesting. We didn't take this into account in the original video. This means that if QRC20 tokens and smart contracts are used, this means it uses Quant as fuel. This means greater upward price pressure if used. So I think this is another video. I need to take a deeper look into this, see who is using it and how much of it is being used. I think this is fairly new, and I think they've got a roadmap for this separately. I believe is at tier 2 now. So tier 1 was just simple transactions. Tier 2 is minting and burning, which is essentially programmable money. And then the next tier 3 and tier 4, which they're building, is tier 3 is providing full control over account balances. So for example, this helps people like banks to whitelist or blacklist people based on KYC and AML. And then tier 4 is kind of additional features like earmarking or escrowing of funds, and then enabling more complex payment workflows. So some things like 2i, 4i, 6i's. So, this again, it looks like they're just building the back end for banks, basically. It just looks exactly like what banks need. So yeah, this is all great to see. Another thing I'm not going to cover in this video is competitors. I need to look at this deeper, but Quant is not just competing with other interoperability projects in the blockchain space. They're also competing with non-DLT projects like Temenos, Fiserv, and Swift. So all the kind of the back-end software of those companies, they're competing with that as well. So this competitor section needs to take a deeper look. So overall, to summarize, I think as Quant investors, Quant looks like they're doing everything we want them to be doing. All these updates are great. I don't think it should change our original thesis. It's just steady as she goes, basically. If they keep doing this, keeps progressing in the way it is progressing right now, it's great. I don't think you should look at the current market price as something that should change your investment thesis. It's just prices. It's basically a distraction. If anything, it's at a really good price now. So again, to summarize, as Quant investors, we want to be looking at these three things. We want to be looking at LACCHAIN. What's the developments in LACCHAIN? How is it succeeding? LACCHAIN is one massive ultimate case study for other countries. We want to be looking at the CBDC regulations. I think a new bill has just been released in America, two different bills. So we're going to be looking at that. And then the third thing is looking at the decentralization of the Quant Network. So I would say those are the three things to look out for updates for going forward. And that's my update for this video. I tried something new in this video. I usually don't do updates. I'll be honest, I kind of find updates a little, I don't find it too particularly that interesting for myself. For me, this channel is not really about updates, but I'm just trying updates for this video, and I'm also trying this free speech sort of style. I haven't written any script or anything, so let me know what you think of this video. If you like me to continue doing these updates, Yeah, thanks very much. It's the end of the video, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much. If you liked the video, hit the like button and subscribe. I really appreciate you guys listening to me. I'm just some dude in London making these videos. So anyway, thanks again and see you.